Hello, party people. What's up? How's everybody doing this beautiful Tuesday night? It's like the first Tuesday night that we've actually streamed in like probably 2 months at least. So welcome, everybody. Hope everybody's experiencing nice weather. Close to 80 in Phoenix. It was topped out at 60 here in Colorado. It was sublime, to say the least. Jordan's typing away. I don't know what she's talking about. Are you talking about me?
No.
Just kidding. We're zooming. I had to run upstairs and sort of fix my hair. I doubt that it's fixed.
It looks fine.
Okay, good. I did not turn on the light. I just ran in and hit the top, get the flyaways a little bit with the brush, and then I ran back down because I had already started the stream.
Okay, here's the deal real quick first. Before we do anything else, I want to say, why is this so tall?
Oh, Kazoo was fucking with it. Sorry. He knocked it over.
Like, this is like up my
hopefully
nose.
it sounds all right because it took a pretty hard hit on the hard floor down here.
So close to my face. Okay, if you are just a person that is here to watch the content of the video, I will put a timestamp up here, and there will be chapters along here that you can scrub to, so you don't have to listen to the beginning of this because somebody's getting yelled at. So if you don't want to listen to somebody get yelled at, then you can move along.
This has escalated since I came down here to set everything up.
Yes. So if you don't want to listen to that and you just want the 8-passenger stuff and you don't want our banter, just slide to the next chapter. You don't have to tell me, drop a comment and tell me about how annoying it is. I promise you, I don't care. That's why the timestamps are there.
About 6 minutes on the last upload that we did. And I was like, we had a fucking, this is unusually long. Sorry.
I'm sorry. Okay. So just scroll down. You'll see the chapters. Go to the timestamps. Click on the description. You'll be good. Okay? Out of sync? Why are we out of sync?
Oh, good question. I haven't messed with anything, so how far out of sync is the audio? Hello, Jen. Love to see ya.
Jen, you're just in time for me to yell at everyone.
Sorry.
Not everyone.
Apparently
just one person.
the vid is way out of sync. Will you... Hold on, everybody. Jordan is going to turn on the audio real quick so I can fix this. I don't know why I've not messed with any of this.
Oh, it is
Holy
way
shit,
bad.
That is way out of sync. Okay, hold on. Wait, turn it back up so I can... Okay, so the audio needs to be delayed by a lot. Sorry, I'm going to have to go over to the computer to do this. I can't. This is too far to see. Oh.
It looks like it might be getting better. I'm not sure. Gosh, this is like so close to my face. But I know if I
keep talking to see it.
If I screw with it, then I'm gonna hate it even more, and then it's gonna go all the way down. Maybe I can just do a little. Okay, we're good with that. Hello, Jen. Is anybody out of sync? Oh, we might be okay now.
Keep talking for a second.
I'm still talking.
It might be computer input lag.
Maybe like
Just a hair.
Yeah. It's still present a little bit. Sorry, y'all. I've got baloney at my feet. Brooke, welcome to the terrestrial kingdom.
I didn't even fuck with anything.
Still slightly off, but better.
Only slightly out of sync.
Yeah, you can tell. Wait, maybe? You can still see it slightly. It's still for me. Maybe I'll refresh it. Yay, Brooke, thank you.
We aliens?
It looks a little bit better on my end.
Okay. I'm guessing it's just processing lag. I probably should have
Grab my light.
rebooted my computer.
Let's see what McKay looks like.
This light?
Yes.
You want me
Mm-hmm.
to put it on?
Yes.
Why?
That is what I'm saying. Baloney.
Find a new place. Get a hobby.
Someone said it sounds like it's a YouTube thing, not just us.
Oh.
Yep, it's still out of sync. Good heavens. Oh my gosh. This is so obnoxious.
How bad?
Well, maybe it's not YouTube.
Well, it's not my connection because I'm wired.
Snack! Welcome to the Terrestrial Kingdom.
Snack. Why does Snack look like hardcore?
Start over!
Snack looks like hard. Who's the guy in King of Queens? Snack. Welcome to the Terrestrial. What's his name?
I can't think of him, but I can see his face.
From a distance.
Kevin something.
Kevin James.
Kevin James.
Hardcore Kevin James. Start over. I'm gonna put it to 25 milliseconds.
Okay, McKay's doing something right now. Okay. McKay changed something. I watched Natalie stream the other day a little bit in her beginning. I got totally sidetracked. AK the cat lady. Thank you. Gifted 5 memberships. Oh, it was Natalie's stream that had technical difficulties at the beginning too. Maya, Destiny, T, Wet Dry World, Sarah J.
Did you need this light?
It's just because it's dark.
Oh. I need to build a little thing for the prayer hands. I'm sorry, guys. I don't have anywhere to like put it because this is not
We need to get
against something. There's the wall back there, but it hangs out
put a command hook on it,
forward. There's nothing to put it against
I guess.
yet, so.
We love Natalie Lurchick.
All right, how is that going? Because at this point, I don't know what else I can do. The tiny lag. How does it look? Shit. I don't know. Sorry, guys. I don't know. Maybe I should just. We'll send it big time and see if that changes anything.
I don't know how any of this works.
I'm doing sync offset.
Yeah, you haven't
Dialing
missed
it up
anything
to 50 milliseconds.
because we're on the struggle bus right now.
Put it on a lectern. I don't have a lectern. I just need to get a couple 2x4s and paint it black and then make a little thing for it. Because it doesn't weigh anything. It just, there's nothing to put it up against. That way I can also put the lights, the backdrop lights on it. And I can get, there's just like an old cube shelf from IKEA back here that it's sitting on. So
Everybody's saying it's better, 1,000 times better. Sounds fine to me.
1,000 times better?
Tiny,
Still
but
looks
not as
fine
bad
to
as
me.
it was. You're literally talking exactly in sync. So this is weird. Some people are getting it and some people aren't.
No worries. Okay.
It's not lagging on my end. Okay. Well,
We've given some time for Jordan to quell her storm.
We'll
have. See if it has.
Hello, Paige.
Sorry for the technical difficulties. I seriously have not changed anything. So I don't know why from last stream to this stream suddenly there's issues. So apologies, but I don't know. Usually, what's my first course of action whenever I'm trying to troubleshoot, Jordan?
What? Turn it off and turn it back on again?
Yep. But right now I don't want to turn it off because then once I end the stream, then you guys will have to find your ways back, and it's just too much of a thing. So we'll just deal with the lag. Apologies for now.
I'm
Look
hitting
away.
That inevitably, since people are gonna comment about it.
Look away if it is too disturbing. I know I might be tough to
just
look at. You now have a second reason.
My eyes. Don't look at my mouth.
Yeah, maybe we should we'll just hold our hands up the entire time. Now you can't even tell.
Now
Look at
it doesn't
that.
even matter.
See?
Okay, well, you pull up the image that I texted you.
I will pull up the image that
again,
you texted
when
me.
this is done, this will be timestamped. I will include where to go for certain things that you want to see if you didn't want to bear with us through this whole bullshit that we just all endured together. It's the second one. Make sure the one that's blurred.
Okay.
And so skip to that if you're not interested in this. If you're not interested in me yelling at someone, then come back in like 10 minutes and we'll probably be on 8 passengers by then.
You didn't crop it, dear.
Oh, I didn't? Oh,
No,
shit.
I will do
Good
that
thing
for
you did that.
don't worry. Here, we'll just scroll down.
You can
so
just leave
can't
it
see
like that.
There we go.
Okay, I covered everything else, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I did.
I mean, she's posting public comments too.
It's
so
true. I mean, if anybody wanted to figure out, they could, but
Sorry.
it's none of my business.
It is what it is. This is social media.
Okay, so it's time that we have a moment here, okay? I have been getting DMs and comments from one
Hold on,
singular
let me reset
person.
This, guys.
One singular person. I'm doing the courtesy of blurring out information. I don't need to, because you can go to our page and you will see the comments. So I'm trying to do her a favor here, but I really don't care. And let me give the full disclosure here right now. Do not go harass this person. I'm just here to use this as an opportunity to talk about why this isn't appropriate. So I've been getting a lot of comments and a lot of messages from this person. Now, we get feedback about shit all the time on our accounts. Why do I care? Most of the time, if it's something stupid, I don't, okay? But then this person has decided that she was going to take it to my professional account, which is my therapist account, which is my job account, okay? So, like, this is the account that I use for my job as marketing to get more clients for my day job that I work as a therapist, okay? So, this person has decided to message me not only on our account, but has now started messaging and commenting on my posts on my professional therapist account. Now, I advertise my professional account all the time on our account. Yeah. My boss, okay? My boss, let me say this loud and clear, encourages me to do so, okay? So my boss is also a very well-known, I consider her famous within the Mormon Utah community. And so she is the one who advises me. For better or for worse. For better or for worse. And she advises me on how to handle these things. So she is more than okay with me advertising on my professional or on our personal account. And she watches our videos, okay? So she's not in the dark on what I do. But when you take a personal opinion about a personal thing that's personal to you and important to you, and you drag it to my professional account where I do my job, then I have a problem, okay? You can comment all the live long day on our personal account, and she has been, and I haven't done shit about it. All the comments are still there. I haven't responded to any of the messages. I don't delete it. You comment this shit on my personal account, you're getting blocked, and she did.
Yep.
So this is just me setting a boundary around my professional account that if you have criticisms about what we do or who we are or anything like Mormonism related or anything about our podcast or platform or channel, keep it to our account. I don't care if you post it on Reddit. We get hate comments on and nasty shit on Reddit all the time. Jen's been there. She knows it's a miserable place to be when you have people making horrible comments about you on the internet.
Shout out Jen, Funny Fridays.
Shout out Jen. And I don't care about any of that. Like, you can go and do whatever it is that you want to do on the internet. Just don't post it on my professional account, because this is not appropriate. This is your personal opinion. So let me read this comment to you. Okay? How many new post-Mormon content creators are codependent on abusive, older, more powerful podcasters in the community? Okay? Okay?
First off, this has nothing to do with this or that even.
No.
Damn. Like, it's just so goofy. And I mean, to be fair, at the very least, she's consistent in taking this to Jordan's boss's account, because she also is alleging the same kind of relationships with, it's very obvious if you are in the dark, she is talking about the likes of, particularly John DeLynn and Bill Reel of Radio Free Mormon, which, first off, using codependent erroneously, by the way, like, you didn't even watch the post. You just sent a reply to the story, and then just alleging all of these things that are completely untrue. And this is just scratching the surface. There was a bunch of other ones that
there was a lot of other ones that I was thoroughly not impressed with either. It's
so goofy. Like, do you all feel like you would not be here if it were not for one of those other personalities?
Okay,
that
so here's
we have
my
had
thing.
brushes
Here's
with?
my thing. This person primarily is referring to the situation that happened with John DeLynn and his former employee, Jen Camp. Okay? That's what this whole thing is about. And I'm not about keeping this under wraps or keeping it a secret, because it's not. All of the information is out there. You can go learn anything that you want to learn about that entire situation. The complaints are public from both parties. The hearing that was held, the anti-stalking hearing, the stalking hearing, whatever you want to call it, Bill Reel or whoever was in there recorded it, and it's on the internet. So if you want to form your own opinion on that situation, then be my guest. But
shout out Jules.
To go so hard over something like this is a little bit ridiculous, okay? Because I've listened to the stuff, I've read the complaints, I have a personal relationship with John. I would say personal and professional. We're friends. We've also been on his podcast. I don't have any beef with John. We don't have any issues. I have my own personal experiences where I explicitly talked about my story and my child sexual assault with him, and I had no problems with him whatsoever. I never felt uncomfortable. I had no issues with him. He was kind, he was considerate, and he went above and beyond to make sure that I was comfortable. Like, we weren't even, he offered to not even have the podcast live just in case I wanted to not say something, or just in case I wasn't feeling comfortable. Like, John went above and beyond for me when I was telling my story publicly for the first time. And so I do not have anything negative to say in that regard about John. And I don't have anything negative to say about generally my experience with him on a professional or personal level. I just don't. And I read the complaint. I read the Open Stories Foundation. I listened to the hearing, and I still don't have a problem with John. I still don't. And if that's a problem for you, then that's totally fine, and I totally understand. But you can't just be out here making comments like this on people's professional living day job is appropriate.
Yeah.
And to insinuate that, one, they're abusive when we have no evidence of that at all. And two, anytime things have happened in the community that need addressing, John is usually the one that addresses it. So I know John is a very polarizing figure in the community, and I get that. And I don't care what opinion you have on him. The only thing that I can give you is the experience that I have with him, and me being personal friends with Kara and my experiences with her. None of this is okay.
Yeah.
Also, we're dragging stuff up that's been long dead for months now. Like, truly. There could be things going on behind the scenes. But the public stuff, like, it's all over now. Like, she tried to get a stalking injunction, and guess what? The judge said, No. So beyond that, and beyond the complaint, and beyond that, I don't know what else you want me to do. You want me to come out here and say John's this big bad beast of a person? Because I'm not going to. You want me to say that we are codependent on John in any way, shape, or form? Absolutely not. In our professional career, we have collaborated with John twice, and one of those was our individual stories that we were invited on to tell. So before we make insinuations about what's codependency, that's just not appropriate. It's not. And it's inaccurate. I'm just stunned.
Yeah. Yeah, and just to catch everybody up who might be not in the know, we're speaking about John DeLynn, who is the host of Mormon Stories podcast, the founder of the Open Stories Foundation, which focuses on the stories of Mormons, current and former Mormons, and their experiences within or without of Mormonism. And he had employed a Jen Camp, who was actually working there when we went and did our episode on Mormon stories. And this person, who is, I don't have any idea who they are, unrelated seemingly, is commenting on Jordan's work, Instagram things about, and insinuating that we are benefiting by some large degree from a relationship and codependent relationship with John DeLynn and the Mormon Stories podcast, which is just outlandish. And I mean, more to the point, I understand that Jordan's experience is anecdotal when she's discussing her abuse and the trauma that occurred from that, but the man has been doing it for like 20 years, and at the 20th year, that is how he is conducting himself. It goes to show that it is not just a one-off, really strange thing, that's how he handled the situation. So
yeah,
it seems pretty ridiculous. And there are judges, and
I mean, she tried to get Bill Reel
yeah,
disbarred.
she tried to get Bill Reel disbarred, and they did not find any fault or anything like that. So,
which I would just be so embarrassed.
Yeah.
The other thing that they had also told me in the DMs that they sent me was nobody's speaking up at the platform about the abuses in this space because smaller creators rely on John in part for their traffic. I don't rely on John for traffic. I don't.
Yeah. How do you think John found out about us? Hello?
If I relied on John for traffic, first of all,
I swear on every ounce of life force that I have in my body, I told Jordan. Jordan was like, I want to go on. I want to be on Mormon Stories so bad. And I was like, me too. But I will not
RFM, not Bill Reel,
ever contact John or anybody related to Mormon Stories podcast in order to go out there and tell our story. I will only be invited. And that's what happened. So.
And that's exactly what happened. That's it. I mean, we were invited. And did it give us a boost? Sure, for a little bit.
Yeah.
But John is way bigger than we are now.
Yeah.
And
I mean, he's been around.
He's been
forever.
around 10 times longer than us. And his audience is not always our audience. We know that there's overlap. And we get told all the time, there's somebody in the comments just now, we get told all the time that people found Mormon Stories because of us.
Yeah.
And I consider that an honor because I love John and I love what he does. And I think his work is so important. And I think, we reached out to him about covering 8 Passengers together. And that's why that whole thing happened. And we thought, this is a huge story. We want John in on this because we already get traffic from 8 Passengers.
Yeah.
John's never talked about them before. So we were like, why don't we bring this to John, get more eyes and ears on the story? And that's why that collaboration even came about, because I called him. So this is not about clout, okay? Like, so many people who watched that episode were people who had already watched ours. And then he brought on all of his people who were not familiar with all of the Mormon vloggers, and beautiful. We love it. But to say that this is like an abusive relationship, and yes, it's RFM. I misspoke. I always get those two swapped. to like conflate the two, I just don't understand. And to say that we're not speaking out about it, and then also making comments about how there was public record of sexual flirtation with Cara Burrell. I am personally friends with Cara Burrell. I have talked to her about this.
Yeah, you better, if you're in the audience, you better believe that she's gotten all the screenshots of the shit you said.
Like, just stop. Like,
I better believe it.
And if you're confused about why Cara left Mormon Stories, she has a whole video on it on her Patreon that you can go watch, and her and John still collaborate. So it's not like it was because of John. Like, Jesus Christ, people, it turns into this whole thing.
Thank you, Nikki.
When it doesn't have to be. And is there mistakes that are made, and is there men in the Mormon community who still have to work through their own misogynist shit? Of course there is, because that's the name of the game. We were all raised Mormon. It's active deconstruction. It's owning it and then moving on, which John does, and I've seen him do before.
Yeah. But I have never seen John get 1.5 million people see him suiting up in temple ceremonial clothing to the tune of Montero by Lil Nas X. Thank you. John didn't do that. We did. Jesus.
And so I just wanted to reaffirm, we love John. We have a personal and professional relationship with him. I've had nothing but good experiences with him, even when I was doing my own stuff and coming forward with my own shit, which was very personal. He knows details that you guys don't know. And so I had a very vulnerable experience with him, and I felt nothing but appreciated and taken care of and supported. And so I just want to put that out there. So if you want to send me DMs about how much you hate John DeLynn, you're just going to get deleted, because I don't care. I don't care. Like, this is the only time I'm going to address this. So if you want to keep sending them to me, I mean, by all means, but eventually I'm probably going to get annoyed enough to block you. So just know that. But I don't like doing that, because people are like, oh, you just block people who give you criticism. This is me addressing the criticism. If you keep doing it, I'm going to block you. And if you comment on my professional account again, we're going to have problems. Leave it at that.
Right.
Thank you.
And you know us, we're fucking loser ass SJWs. If there are problems,
and yell at you again.
If we're not saying anything about it, there's probably not a lot of merit to it. I'm sorry. We are very keyed into these situations.
And learn what codependency means.
Yes, for the love of God.
Jesus Christ.
If you're going to co-op the story post, at least watch the story post and learn something from it first.
Oh, good God Almighty.
Okay. We are going to move on from that. Thank you to you all for... we have message requests.
I keep message requests on because sometimes you guys send me stuff that is like helpful. And
sometimes it's good to have open. But it is also helpful to have the requests to weed out.
Because I don't want to weed out the people who do send us like helpful stuff. And you guys send us like stories and things that I haven't seen or whatever. And that's helpful too.
Okay, moving on from that. One other thing I did want to announce, I wanted to put it out there in people's heads, but I'm not sure that I can share the details quite yet. This is nothing related to Mormon stories, so quit typing. But on on this Sunday, December 10th, right? 10th?
Correct.
We will be going live on another person's channel at 5 o'clock Mountain Standard Time, which would be 7 o'clock Eastern, 4 o'clock Pacific. We will share more details and links for that once we know that we're all good to go. But it should be fun. It's new. We have actually never collaborated with this person before.
Nope.
And there will also be another guest who many people have already mentioned in the chat that we will be playing against. So
indeed,
get ready for that. That's Sunday.
How dare we collab?
Sunday, December 10th at 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific. All right.
That's so codependent.
Oh, we are so codependent.
Just needs to be our catchphrase.
Oh my God, these cats are so codependent. They're over here looking at each other.
Oh my God.
Have you ever? Would you ever do a live debate with Porgan if they?
Absolutely
If
not.
they would.
Absolutely not.
They would not.
Nope. I would never.
wouldn't.
I don't even ever want to cover them again, quite honestly.
Is it Nuance Ho? Sadly, no.
No, it's not, but we should probably collaborate with Nuance Ho again at some point.
Playing against. Yep, that's all I'll.
That's all we'll get.
That's all I'm gonna give you.
You'll see more
So just get
information about it
excited.
before Sunday.
This is
Okay.
fun stuff related to Mormonism.
Yes. All right. Let's pull up this PowerPoint.
All right, all you parasocially codependent animals.
You guys are
animals.
so codependent. Oh my god.
Let's bring up this presentation.
Not H3, man, I wish.
Dude, I wish.
I would be
They don't do episodes on Sunday, silly goose.
I would be deceased if that ever happened.
Yeah, I'd be deceased. Although the other day when Dan seemed to know a lot about Tim Ballard.
Dan
the other
did
day.
know a lot about Tim Ballard, and I was like, who does he watch to know
Yeah,
all this
right?
information?
I added some. What do you call the letters? What do you call those?
What?
The little letters. What do you call those?
Credentials?
I added some credentials to Baloney
AOC?
and Kazoo. Yeah, Agent of Chaos.
Oh.
So Baloney, Agent of Chaos. Thomas, Agent of Chaos, and Kazoo, Agent of Extreme Chaos.
Oh, that is fair.
Will you come into frame a little more? You kind of.
I'm on the edge.
Yeah.
Sorry.
She was saving me from the explosion.
Yeah, I was. Truly.
The rage that had built up.
Is it Chad? No.
No.
I don't know that I would ever feel comfortable
Yeah.
interviewing
I
it,
honestly,
to be
I feel
honest.
bad for Chad, but I don't
I feel like
him.
it's kind of exploitative.
I'm sorry.
I'm
bad
fine
for
with
him,
him.
but
He's on his
yeah.
journey. Think about it. When people, we'll get to that in a minute, but when you wonder why Chad is the way he is in his phase of life right now, just remember who raised him. Okay,
New band names, dibs.
just remember that.
And they're also fans of AOC.
Yes. Okay, so
Who
here's
knows?
what we're talking about today. We are reviewing 8 Passengers updates. It has been approximately 2 months or so since we have done an update, and there has been not like major things, but there's been a few things that have happened. And then we also wanted to talk about, we've gotten a lot of questions since Kevin filed for divorce. We've gotten a lot of questions about what does divorce look like within Mormonism. And so I put in plenty of material in there, and we will discuss what divorce
Oh shit,
looks
we're
like.
covering the magazine cover. Sorry. Let me.
Oh, yeah. And I was going to add
Alright.
more, but I ran out of
There we
time.
go.
I wanted to put People Magazine in here because, you know,
YouTube mom arrested.
she made front page of People. Like, damn girl.
Yeah, love it.
For all the wrong reasons. SAHD stands for Stay at Home Dad. And then
That's me.
my MSW CSW.
Let me tell you, I wanted to quit yesterday. Oof. It's not a good day yesterday.
We're in the three-nager phase right now, and it's a little bit rough here. Okay. So, rules for chat. Just really briefly, most of you already know these. Do not use the first names of the minor children. We do this to protect their privacy. We know that they don't really have any, so we try to afford them what we can. And so that includes just using their first initials when we're talking about them. Chad and Shari are both now adults over the age of 18. You can use their names to discuss them. Don't disparage or disrespect any of the victims, the children, Shari included. Otherwise, you'll be muted. And then don't argue with our mods, please. If our mods do something, they usually have good reason to. And if there's an issue, then, like, don't be a dick about it. That's my role. So.
All right.
So, responsible reporting. I say this every time we cover 8 Passengers, but this is a reminder. As information continues to come out, it is critical that we are aware of what we consume. McKay and I have a responsibility to do everything that we can to obtain and report on accurate and reliable information. That said, we are human and make mistakes, so we try to make corrections as they are needed. Not everyone who covers this content deserves your views. When big things come out on YouTube, everybody wants to cover it because it means views, right? And not everybody who covers this does it thoroughly and does it with like the intent of putting out accurate information. And so I don't care if you watch 10 people who cover 8 passengers. I don't care if we're the only ones that you watch who cover 8 passengers. Yeah. Just make sure that you're being responsible about who you watch, and it's not somebody who's only crediting the Daily Mail or reporting misinformation. Like, there are plenty of other people. Like, I've heard Swoop did a really good documentary. I've heard Marky has good information. Like, just be critical about who you use and who you watch. And if it seems like bullshit and your bullshit radar goes off, then trust your instincts.
Yeah. And hearing outlandish things, this was really big the last time that we were talking about this. People were just making outlandish assumptions about this family and the extended family that is also on YouTube based on hearsay by one fucking washed up loser YouTuber. So you need to be skeptical when you hear outlandish things. Go with officially reported things, court documents, and things of that nature. Anything else that you hear is just... There are people out there who want to make money, and they will lie to get views, clicks, and make that money. So just be aware of that. We are more interested in this because we've been talking about it for a long time. We talk about Mormonism, and we like to discuss how this is like super intertwined with the culture of Mormonism and even with the hierarchy of the church itself. So
indeed,
that's why.
Okay.
Let's go. Let's get some updates.
I just put our mods in chat. I think those are the 3 who are here tonight.
Hannah said she's sick right now, so she might not be.
I think she's in here though.
She's fighting for her life, so
poor Hannah.
Sorry, Hannah.
Okay, so November 29th, we're going to start with the big thing because it's the thing that relatively surprised me. November 29th, this article hits every major news outlet that I saw. I saw it on practically everything, everywhere. Kevin Franke has filed for divorce amid Ruby's child abuse case. This comes November 29th. Now, this is interesting. I can't say... I was torn on whether or not he would support Ruby, and I'm not going to say that he doesn't have... I'm not going to say that it's not possible that he wants to be divorced from Ruby and also knows that this is going to probably be instrumental in getting custody of his kids back again. Both can be true. My hope is that both are true, and that it's not just he wants custody back, it's that he thinks Ruby is a horrible person and wants to be done with her. That's my hope anyway. But I'm not going to deny that there might be other motives. He does look very Mr. Worldwide here. Yeah.
When he was like, for everybody going through tough times, believe me, been there, done that. This is what it's looking like right here.
That guy.
He's right coming out on the other side.
Indeed. Okay. So... there was a lot of confusion that came out because attached to the divorce filing is what is called a domestic relations injunction. And this was in part why I watched some of Natalie Lawyer Chick's stream just so I could get an understanding. So the domestic relations injunction is an order from the court. This is just straight definition off Google, prohibiting either party from doing certain things during the divorce to maintain the status quo. So this includes things related to the assets. Like they can't, Kevin can't go and sell the house. Like they're permitted... like from doing certain things. But in the state of Utah, a domestic relations injunction is automatic. So no matter what the circumstances are, child abuse or not, or domestic violence background or not, or any of those things, this will happen immediately once a petition is filed for divorce. So this is not specific to Ruby and Kevin. This isn't because of their situation. But does it have a lot of merit given the child abuse situation? Absolutely it does. So this was filed on November 29th. It's time dated at 2 o'clock. So go to the next page. And then this is part of what is in the injunction. So it tells them a few things that they can't do. And this is, as a therapist, mental health professional here, this is just good advice across the board for anybody getting divorced. Can't harass, intimidate, or disturb the peace of the other party by any means, including electronically. Can't domestic violence, abuse each other or the child, which Ruby has already screwed that up. Use the other party's name, likeness, image, or identification to get credit, open an account for a service or obtain a service, cancel or interfere with telephone, utility, or other services used by the other party, cancel, modify, terminate, change the beneficiary, allow lapse for voluntary non-payment of premiums without the written consent of the other person. And that is in regards to health insurance, their homeowners or renters insurance, their auto insurance, and life insurance. And then division of property, which does apply here. They can't transfer, encumber, conceal, or dispose of property of the other person unless you have written consent of the other party or you have a court order, except in the usual course of business to provide for the necessities of life. So those are some of the things that the injunction states that they cannot do. And then for obvious reasons, those are all just things that you should do no matter what, whether you're in jail or not.
Yep.
And then other things that apply in this situation: can't take children on non-routine travel without the consent of the other party or a court order. And then if you do decide to do that, you have to be specific about what's going to happen, like, you know, travel dates and where and how, and the third party who's going to know where they are and blah, blah, blah. And then in the presence or hearing of the children, demean or disparage, talk badly about the other party.
I like the talk badly about.
Yeah. If you've ever been in my office and you've considered divorce, or if you are divorcing, or if you have a person who's ever thought about it in my vicinity, my number one rule that I always tell everyone is to not talk badly about your spouse in front of your children. Like, I don't care how great of a parent you are, I'm going to say it every time, because the damage that does when parents talk ill or speak ill of each other, even in a situation like this, it's horrifying. And that's not to say that we can't acknowledge the facts that Ruby was abusive and she's now in jail. It's, your mom's a piece of shit and I never should have married her. Like, that's what we're talking about.
Yeah.
And then attempt to influence the children's preference regarding custody or parent time. Utah courts, and most courts in general, but Utah, I know for sure, takes that very seriously. Say or do anything that would negatively affect the love and affection of the children of the other party or involve the children in the issues of the petition. This is very, very common in divorces. There is often children who will feel guilt for spending more time with one parent because the other parent will be like, well, you must love them more than me, or things of that nature. So this is saying that they're not allowed to do that either. And then make parent time arrangements through the children. This is also a rule if you've ever been a client of mine as a therapist, as me with your navigating things. This is also my rule, is that arrangements for like weekends or sleepovers, or make sure you tell your mom this, none of that. You communicate like adults. It's not your children's responsibility to communicate for you. And then when the children are under a party's care, the party must use best efforts to prevent others from doing anything as described above, and if necessary, remove the children from the situation. So this would be a situation where Jodi would not be that person. Okay? So
especially because she's in jail.
Exactly. So do some of these things not really apply because Ruby's in jail right now? Yes. But this will continue to be a thing even after the fact. So just so you're briefed on what that says that neither of them are allowed to do. And then I wanted to show you guys, lots of people ask, like, well, can we see stuff about, the divorce? If you look up public information in Utah, there's a website that you can go through and you have to pay for it. And it's super annoying. But most things in court are public documents to some degree. But divorces in Utah are not, and custody agreements in general and petitions for custody and things of that nature are not public. So if you were to pull up these things, this is what you would see. So when I look up updates to see if there are things that are happening with Ruby and Jodi and things, I look in their public database, and generally I can see that something has been filed, but I cannot see actually what it is. Like, you'll see down there that where it says petition for divorce, it says private. So that's not something that I can buy and look at. So the actual grounds for the divorce and the details of it are not something that any of us are going to be able to access unless one of them, like Ruby or Kevin, actually shared that information. And so if you look it up yourself, this is all you're going to get.
Now, is that something that's exclusive to situations where there are children?
No.
Because with the custody agreements and petitions, I could see that being the case, but it's just all divorces, period.
All divorce in general is private.
No. That's interesting.
Because I tried to do the same with Jodi's divorce back in the 90s, and it's the same thing, divorce. And I think it's like that in many states. I don't know about all states, but I know Utah specifically.
I don't think we ever discussed that situation, but from all the documents that were filed related to the divorce, it was like years.
Over
and
10
years before that divorce was finalized.
of petitions going back and forth between Jodi and her husband.
Crazy. So we don't know all the details, obviously, because it's private. But
it was a lot.
Just based on the filings, it was like, Jesus, people. And it was definitely not him that was dragging it out.
No. You'll also see in here that represented by for Ruby is blank, which is interesting. But when I was watching Natalie's stream, it hadn't occurred to me that Ruby has a criminal lawyer, not a divorce lawyer. So according to Natalie, or the other way around, I can't remember. But either way, if you're representing someone in one of those situations, it's usually not advised that they represent you in both. So she would generally, it would be wise for her, from what I understood from Natalie, to pick up another lawyer that is specific to divorce or just specific to the criminal case, and not both. So I'm just throwing that out there. She might have this. I took this like 4 days ago. This might have changed, but as of 4 days ago, it had not.
Okie dokie. We'll get back to it.
And then immediately after, when I was pulling through the record search, this came up. So this was in the matter of marriage of Kevin, Franke, and Ruby. This is an order of transfer from Utah County to American Fork. And I didn't spend a ton of time on this because this was just my primary assumption that it was moved because their address is in American Fork. So it would be filed in American Fork.
Mm-hmm.
So it was transferred to a judge in American Fork.
Wait, which address?
Their house address, I thought.
That's in Springville.
I thought that was their old address.
No, that's their current one. But I think Kevin was living in American Fork.
Bingo. That's why.
When or that was I don't think we ever got confirmation on that one, but it's his address
because he filed.
Oh, okay. There you go.
That's my assumption. That's what I'm going to say. I could be wrong. This is more of a Natalie question, but this was filed immediately. Like the petition was filed at 2. You'll see in the upper right-hand corner, this was timed at 4:24 on the same day. So this was just within a few hours of each other. So he filed originally, it looked like in Utah County Court. So I don't know what the American Fork thing is, but I'm assuming it's because of his address. So there you go. So then I wasn't going to watch this because I was like, what is this dude going to say that I haven't already heard before? But he did say some things. The thing about Randy Kester, the thing about Kevin's lawyer, is that he drops things. He drops things that I don't think he intended to. And then they're like just little nuggets that you put together over time. So this interview was from 3 days ago, I want to say. So go to the next slide.
You don't think he intended to do that?
I think sometimes he says more than he thought he would, because he kind of catches himself sometimes. So these were some of the things that came out in the interview that Kevin did with Jesse Weber, who also interviewed me, by the way. Let's throw that in there. So Kevin, so
that sounds like a codependent relationship, if you ask me. On big news media, wow, Jordan.
So, and you'll see what I'm saying in a moment. So this meant to say Randy. Randy claims that once Kevin heard the whole truth about what was happening to the kids while they were in Ruby and Jodi's hands, he wanted an immediate divorce. I don't know that I believe that. I really don't. Because he did.
We'll go along with it.
They weren't talking. We've got all this, but I don't know that I fully believe that. And then, interestingly enough, he also claims that Pam was actually the president of Connections at one point, but Jodi was the one doing all the therapy. He said that Pam was the president.
And Pam was the woman that had the other two girls cleaning her house.
Mm-hmm. Which I forgot to add in here because I didn't have time. So I don't know if Connections was like originally Pam's idea. I don't think it was.
No, absolutely not.
So he just has it wrong.
Because we had learned that Jodi changed her practice because it was something that she had been developing for years. Once she got the slap on the wrist from the licensing board, she changed her practice from what it was to connections coaching. It never was anything. So if you look on Jodi's LinkedIn, it says that she worked at Connections since after her, what do you call that? Her clinical hours to get licensed up until today, because it's never been a different business. It was always the same business. She just changed it, and she stopped labeling herself as a... Yeah, it definitely was from...
This is what I mean about this lawyer. And someone just said in the chat, other lawyers have said he talks too much. I'm telling you, he isn't intentional about the things that he's saying. And I don't think... And I think this was kind of Natalie's sentiment too, is that Jodi's lawyer is a powerhouse and knows what he's into. Like, he knows what... He's not getting his feet wet in this.
He's
like,
the only person to defend against capital punishment in the
he
state of
knows
Utah.
what he's doing. But I think Kevin might have just picked a friend, and it's not
honestly
paying out so well.
It's giving, for legal reasons, Pam is president.
For legal reasons, Pam is president. And I don't know. Maybe she had a more official title. Randy might end up fucking Kevin over at this point. Like, I don't know. But I just wrote that down immediately because I was what?
The thing is, this is like almost, to a Utah judge, a woman is in jail for child abuse and her husband is filing for divorce. That's a fucking shoe-in.
I mean, come on.
Honestly, it's... Yeah. So he doesn't really need like a big show in that situation. So
Randy, Kevin's lawyer, also said that Kevin was labeled as lustful, greedy, and self-absorbed, which was the first time I think I'd heard him say those, and that he was going to poison the family, which was part of the reason for the separation. And then the interviewer, Jesse, asks if Kevin fully believes that, yes, Jodi was abusing the kids, but if he believes that Ruby was abusing them also. And he said yes, that he believes that Ruby was abusing the kids, which if that's true, I'm glad to hear that he's not thinking that this is just a Jodi thing, because that I could see him falling into that even from like a just trying to cope and wrap your mind around it standpoint, because yes, a lot of this is Jodi's fault, but Ruby absolutely had a hand in this and abused these kids. So I'm glad to hear that he supposedly thinks that. And then Randy also thinks that Ruby has expected the divorce really since the separation. He says that they haven't served her yet because he didn't say because, but he also said that she doesn't have a divorce attorney as of 3 days ago. So she hasn't been served yet. So if anybody in her jail has access to any kind of news media, she already probably knows about it. Loose lips sink ships, right? But she might not even be served yet at this point. So she might not even know. Everybody knows they're getting divorced except Ruby, which I think is really funny. But apparently if you get served in jail, like they have a designated person in the jail who then goes and serves the paperwork to the inmate. So the process is the same. She's still going to get served. But it would make sense if you guys remember that Mr. Worldwide was lustful, remember, because he wanted more sex than Ruby was giving.
Lustful. Ooh.
So then also, he doesn't know if the younger children know of the divorce. He's tight-lipped about that, which is good because otherwise the judge would be pissed at him because that's all sealed now. But he said the grounds for the divorce is irreconcilable differences, which is the most commonly filed. He said there were other grounds within the petition, but he can't expand on that. He said not to poison the well of the divorce negotiations.
Wow. So, a lot of people are saying no fault divorce.
Utah is a no fault state. Utah is also a 50-50 no matter what state. So there really isn't going to be a lot of negotiations around property or money. Everything that Ruby and Kevin own will be split straight down the middle, and that includes debt. That's how divorce works in Utah. Everything is no fault and everything is 50-50, basically no matter the circumstances. And so there's not really going to be a whole lot of negotiating around funds because everything will just be split.
Lustful, straight to jail. Horny jail.
Horny jail.
Kevin was in horny jail. Now Ruby's in real jail.
For real.
You know, it is what it is. All right, we'll continue.
Okay. And then these were the comments that I also thought Randy needs to keep his mouth shut.
Sorry, Stephen Crowder. Got him.
So
got him.
Randy said, when speaking about Chad and Shari, the oldest children, they're getting along great with their dad. They were all together over the Thanksgiving holiday, and they are in daily contact with Kevin. According to Randy. This is both Shari and Kevin. So then Jesse, of course, brings up the whole beef that there was between Kevin and Shari about Shari taking things out of the house and then Kevin saying he was going to press charges. Yes, we'll get to that. He said that they discussed it as adults and that tensions and feelings were running high when Ruby was arrested, but they've resolved all of that. And then he said, I quote, they are best friends now. I'm not shitting you when I told you guys, I feel like this dude just says shit. Because, I mean, and they could be. And if Shari's having that relationship with her dad again that she's always wanted, girl, I'm here for it.
They are buds.
I'm here for it. But I really have a hard time believing that they're best friends now.
Yeah.
Like, to say that. Like,
I mean, like.
Full send.
Yeah. You know what? This is up to Shari. In my opinion, it's 100% her choice. If that is the
totally,
if that's the relationship that they have now, I'm happy for it. But it does sound a little suspect. She wants.
Like I don't care if she has a thorough, amazing, great relationship with him. Like I want for her whatever she wants because it's ultimately up to her. But I don't necessarily know that I would appreciate if I was in this situation having my dad's lawyer out here saying we're besties on the news. Like, I don't know. I would think we might still be in the relationship repair phase. Like in my therapist brain, I'm like, we're still rebuilding probably. Maybe some accountability has been taken and things are being repaired. Like, I don't know. This is all in my head, right? But to just be like, yeah, they're besties. Like, And then he said something that I thought was really stupid, which was it hasn't even crossed Randy's mind that Kevin could be called to testify in the criminal case as a witness. It hasn't even crossed your mind?
I beg your pardon? That is...
I beg your biggest pardon. What?
What?
He's the child's father. You don't think he's going to be invited to participate if this case goes to trial?
The child's father who was not only married to one of the perpetrators, but also receiving intensive quote-unquote therapy or coaching from the other perpetrator.
Like, hello? And I'm pretty sure he said something similar to that before, but I'm just like, and he said that he is not aware that Kevin has been contacted by law enforcement or the criminal prosecution up to this point. But again, somebody just said in chat, remember lawyers can lie if they're not in court. And
that's true.
He could be full of shit. He totally could be. But I don't know why he would say that.
Why would you lie?
To me, I'm like, oh yeah, there's probably a possibility.
Yeah, why would you lie about something like that?
He'll like answer honestly that he didn't have any role in this. And he reiterated no child abuse, no corporal punishment for any of the kids from him or from Ruby, he says.
Yeah.
And no domestic violence between him and Ruby.
Yeah. Like, I could see omitting the truth.
Yeah.
That would be, but like saying something blatantly false while you're not in the courtroom, obviously, it just makes you look silly when people are like, that's definitely not the truth. What?
Didn't Randy go to BYU? For law school?
I don't want to say anything incorrectly.
Let's make sure.
Should we go over here?
Let's fact check, but I'm pretty sure.
Hey, let me throw this on. I don't know where my my browser is real quick. Not trying to dox myself or anything like that.
So yeah, and remember, Randy's not like a criminal defense attorney. Kevin's not being charged with anything.
Utah law. Oh yeah, remember he had such a silly little bio on his website. Bio
we had in our first PowerPoint. I do remember. So let's see.
Holy shit, this is small.
Yeah, Reuben Clark Law School.
Oh, yep, J. Reuben Clark, the anti-Semitic law school.
1984. Yeah.
All right. Yeah, it's been a hot minute since he was in school, but yes.
No, that's not to say that everybody who went to BYU is a terrible lawyer if they are a lawyer. It's just interesting.
I'm pretty sure Jodi's lawyer also went to BYU.
I don't think
if I'm not mistaken. We're not going to get into that.
I don't think he did.
I don't even remember that guy's
Maybe not.
name.
No, because I think we were trying to figure out if he was Mormon or not. I don't remember. But anyway, it doesn't mean you're a shitty lawyer if you go to BYU. We're just noticing things.
It is a little suspect sometimes.
You
though.
hear that? We're just noticing.
We're just asking questions.
We're just noticing
okay?
things here. Okay. He is family law. And like a bunch of other things that he had listed. So let's talk about what Mormons say about divorce. Okay. So I'm going to walk you through.
Divorce is a 4-letter word.
If you watch Friends, you know what we're talking about.
You're a real one.
So if you go to the Mormon Church's website and search divorce, this is what's going to come up. You're going to be pulled to the library, which you can see on the left. There's a library of topics. Abortion is on there. It's at the very top. It's nicely alphabetical, so you can search exactly what you're looking for. But I pulled up divorce so I could read to you guys so nobody complains that we're being biased. I'm just going to read to you exactly what's on the website so you can understand all this divorce and sealing cancellation and all this bullshit. Okay? So here's what that website in particular says about divorce. Would you like to read this part?
Yeah. When men and women marry, they're so supportive of LGBTQ and non-heteronormative relationships. But anyway, they make solemn covenants.
Wait a minute, stop. Okay. MH said, I used to be a janitor in the BYU law building and someone pooped on the floor in the professor's only locked bathroom.
They pulled a Noah K in the professor's only locked bathroom. What?
How does that even happen? Oh my
Shout out to
gosh,
Noah
I'm dying. Oh my god, I'm dying. Oh, okay, McKay,
Let's
go on.
collect ourselves.
Crying.
All right. When men and women marry, they make solemn covenants with each other and with God. See our video about the sealing ceremony in the Mormon temple. Every effort should be made to keep these covenants and preserve marriage. When divorce occurs, individuals have the obligation to forgive, lift, and help rather than to condemn. The sanctity of marriage and families is taught repeatedly in the scriptures. It has been reaffirmed by modern prophets, apostles, despite the truths taught about the sanctity of marriage, divorce, and has become commonplace in the world.
Oh, man.
Divorce has become commonplace in the world, as it should. Don't stick
around.
around. Don't stick together if you're having a tough go. You should be fucking homies, and if you're not homies anymore, go your separate ways. Because the family is central to Heavenly Father's plan for his children, Satan seeks to destroy marriages and families. Because of the poor choices and selfishness of one or both marriage partners, marriages sometimes end in contention, separation, and divorce. If, instead of resorting to divorce, each individual will seek the comfort and well-being of his or her spouse, couples will grow in love and unity. The gospel of Jesus Christ, including repentance, forgiveness, integrity, and love. That is not the gospel of Jesus Christ that I learned. What the fuck? They're smoking some new pack in this church. What the fuck? That's not what I thought. Anyway, provides remedy for conflict in marriage.
That's not all of it.
Those who have caused a divorce through their own poor choices can repent and be forgiven. Those whose marriages have failed because of what others have done can receive strength and comfort from the Lord, who promised, "Come unto me, all ye that labor and are heavy laden, and will give you rest, for my yoke is easy and my burden is light."
So that is the very general answer you will find off the church website, okay? This is very vague.
All?
No.
Okay.
This is very vague. It gives you just a very...
Shit.
Oh, my Lord. Look at what you've done.
Oh, dear God. And Moose God. I'm equal opportunity believer.
Okay. So, since we didn't get the answers that we wanted there, we have to do things the official way and go to the handbook.
Let's go to the handbook, people.
So, remember, if you're not familiar with what a sealing is, go back and watch our video on sealings. But basically, the sealing is the ordinance that connects you and your spouse and your children together for time and all eternity. Okay, so when McKay and I got married in the temple, we weren't married, we were sealed to each other for time and all eternity, okay? And so And any children that we have, because we're sealed, are automatically sealed to us because they're born in the covenant. Okay? And so that is what the sealing is. It connects everyone together all the way back to
Adam.
Allegedly. So that everybody is like one true whole. Everyone is
one eternal round.
Yeah, everybody's connected together. So we have sealing of living members after divorce. A living woman may be sealed to only one husband at a time. It's always been that way. If she and a husband were sealed and later divorced, she must receive a cancellation of that sealing before being sealed to another man during her lifetime. Okay? So women can only be sealed to one man at a time. And if she wants to get sealed, like if she gets divorced and she meets somebody else and is going to get married, she has to go to the church and ask for permission for that first sealing to be canceled. I'm going to talk about that process in a minute. Even if you're not Mormon anymore.
Okay, I won't get into that.
Yes.
I'll let you go.
Men, if a man and woman were sealed and later divorced, the man must receive a sealing clearance before being sealed to another woman. A sealing clearance is necessary even if the previous sealing has been canceled or the previous wife is deceased. So let me break this down to you in layman's terms. Women can only be sealed to one man at a time. Men can be sealed to women, multiple women, at one time.
Case in point, the prophet, president of the church that is living and breathing as we fucking speak, sadly. Edit that out. Russell M. Nelson is married to his current wife.
And sealed.
To his current wife. And he is also a widower and sealed to his deceased first wife.
So the prophet of the church is sealed to two women.
Yes, he is an eternal polygamist, so to speak.
This is kind of what we reference a lot of time when we talk about modern day polygamy.
Yeah.
Is this concept is that a man can be sealed to multiple women at one time. I cannot be sealed to more than one man at a time. So
yeah,
there you go.
So it's exactly why we say, because as soon as you bring up polygamy, these people who, bless their hearts, they are indoctrinated by the church, will immediately say that's not something the church does anymore. It is, because when Russell Nelson is resurrected with his spouses, which is the one that he stays with forever, does he pick one? No.
No, he gets to keep both.
He is sealed to both of those people, which would make him
a polygamist.
Anyway.
So next slide.
Going ahead. That is neither here nor there, but we just like to drive that point home.
So applying for a sealing cancellation or sealing clearance. There's more information in other chapters, but members of either gender may seek a sealing cancellation even if they are not preparing to be sealed to another spouse. A male church member must receive a sealing clearance to be sealed to another woman after a divorce. So men have to get permission to be sealed to another woman, but it's never going to be denied because of the rule I just told you. But you also, let's just say that wife and husband, wife decides to leave the church. She wants to get their sealing canceled. She can go to the church and petition to have their sealing canceled just on the basis that she's not in the church anymore. But here's the rub. I've heard a story of many women who I know personally who have not been able to have their sealings canceled because they're not getting married. So they petition the church to cancel the sealing because they don't want to be sealed to their ex-husband anymore because they're not married anymore, and the church says there's no reason because you're not getting married and neither is he yet, so we're gonna just leave it. So the church has total and complete discretion over whether or not your sealing gets canceled.
Yep. So that is to say that if you were married, you were sealed, and you got divorced, you went your separate ways, you believed in Mormonism until the day you died, and neither of you got married again, even if that person was abusive, the day you die, you still are believing that you're going to be eternally yoked to that person, to your abuser.
Yep.
For time immemorium.
Yep.
Hereforth. So.
Okay, next one.
Anyway. Whoops.
So here's the sealing cancellation process, okay? This is how it's outlined. So the member has to speak with his or her bishop about their request. Now, remember, if you've left the church and you're an ex-Mormon and you're trying to do this, imagine how awkward this is.
Oh, we have a Nephite in here. Spacey 11. Are you one of the 3 Nephites?
So imagine you're an ex-Mormon and you want to get your sealing canceled. You got to talk to your bishop. You don't believe in Mormonism anymore. And you probably don't even regard that person as your bishop maybe even anymore. But guess what? You still got to talk to him. And not just that, you got to talk to your stake president too. And you got to fill out some paperwork. And then maybe they'll consider canceling your sealing. But that's after you go through all these steps, because the bishop has to make sure the divorce is final, that you're current on the one thing that I do like about the church. And I don't know how often or if each one of them really truly does this, but they will ask about spousal support.
Thanks, Shani.
They will ask about whether or not you are up to date on child support, which I do appreciate, because I have heard some bishops that have taken that really seriously and denied temple recommends because they're not paying child support. I have heard of those instances. And so for those times that does happen, we love some accountability where we can get it, right? Love that. So you go through this whole process. If the bishop recommends that the sealing cancellation will be granted, then he fills out the application, then sends it to the stake president. Then you got to meet with the stake president. Go through the same process again. And then if they both agree that it can be granted, then they have to send it to the first presidency.
The top dogs over the entire church.
The prophet. All of them.
And his homies.
Then they get to decide whether or not it can be granted. And then after they decide, then you get notice of whether or not it's something that's going to happen. So this has to go through a bishop, a stake president, and 3 dudes before they can say, yep, your sealing gets to be canceled.
Just to address some questions that I've seen in the comments, Katie and Melanie, if you don't believe in Mormonism, this really doesn't mean anything.
If you don't care.
Yeah. But I'm not 100% positive what the two of them believe, so my opinion is completely irrelevant. But as far as I'm concerned, they both believe this stuff. I mean, Ruby believed in it so much that she went to fucking jail because she was trying to get her kids to submit to her will.
Too seriously.
Yeah. So truly, and that extends to a lot of other facets of Mormonism. We're just explaining this, how it relates to what's going on in this situation, because people have asked us about it. So,
and
in the end, it doesn't have any bearing over reality,
and as a mental health professional, let me say, if you've been in an abusive relationship and you are still technically sealed to somebody, even if it's this imaginary concept that the Mormon church has created, and you are trying to take your power back, imagine what that might mean to someone who feels like they still have a tie, because this person still is going to use that as a method of control.
Yeah, it's that last twist of the knife of their abuser is something that they can hold over them, which is this imaginary thread that will hold them together eternally. So,
and that can be really damaging
100%.
and really painful to have that, and to have a spouse be like, well, it doesn't matter because you're still sealed to me. Like, that's why some people care about this. There are plenty of ex-Mormons who are like, yeah, you can say that you're sealed to me and that you go on your merry way and think that.
Okay,
fine.
buddy.
I don't care. But there are some people who do, and it shouldn't even be a discussion. This shouldn't be a concept of a process. If I don't want this, then it should be done, because I'm a woman and I'm an autonomous person, and I should be able to have control over who I'm not or am attached to.
Yeah.
And so that's why this is important, is because women who feel like they want that should have the opportunity.
Professor Z put it exactly how I think. It's the same reason it's offensive to baptize the dead. Like, that's exactly why people get upset that they baptize Holocaust victims. Mm-hmm. It's imaginary, it's made up, but the idea that they think that they could do that they had the right to baptize into their church and say, this person is now a member of our church. They are numbered among the spirits in heaven that have accepted the true gospel of Jesus Christ, despite them being victims of murderers that killed them for what they believe in and their heritage. It's just ridiculous. So yes, it's fake. It's totally made up, but it's just the principle of it.
Indeed. So that's the process. I think that
it has to go all the way to the top.
Yep.
Like, they have to.
And your bishop could just say no, and it never goes that far.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Leadership roulette. Of course, the people at the top, they don't fucking care. If it made it that far, The first presidency is probably going to approve it because they're just going to, it's just vibes. Like, oh, well, the vibes cops did the heavy lifting for us, and they said that they should get the clearance or the cancellation. So I guess we'll approve it. I've never heard of anybody getting it denied by the first presidency, but they probably do it every once in a blue moon to just fuck with people. Yeah, it'd be like, oh yeah, these people need to repent and do whatever, you know.
So here's the piece from other things I wanted to include from the handbook. So once a sealing cancellation has been approved by the first presidency, the blessings related to that sealing are no longer enforced. Priesthood leaders counsel with members seeking cancellations of a sealing to help them understand these principles, but leaders should honor members' agency in these decisions. That's all it gives you on that, is that leaders should honor members' agency. It doesn't say you have to do it if they're asking for it. There is no rule with that. But the thing that I wanted to highlight here is any children born to a woman after her sealing to a former husband has been canceled are not born in the covenant unless she has been sealed to another man. So that's kind of how that works, because it does create kind of an interesting conundrum when you have a sealing that's potentially canceled and there's children involved.
Yeah.
So ideally in this situation with the kids as young as they are, I think in like a typical bishop advising ideal type situation, they would advise Kevin to marry again and then seal the children to his new wife.
Yeah, likely. Especially if she were excommunicated. I think
just to keep things whole.
Yeah, I think if she were excommunicated, that would be, and likely she will be, or has been already. It's hard to say. Usually when there are like vile crimes, especially violent ones,
it's just automatic.
They'll just excommunicate you, and they won't hold a court of love. They'll hold a court of love, but they won't invite you, especially with Jodi and Ruby.
I'd be shocked
they
if they didn't
they wouldn't be able to get out of jail to do that. So,
and then if a couple was sealed and later divorced, the blessings of that sealing remain in effect for individuals who are worthy unless the sealing is canceled. So a member who remains faithful to temple covenants will receive every blessing promised in the temple, even if the person's spouse has broken the covenants or withdrawn from the marriage. So this is to say that Kevin is still going to get the benefits of and the blessings of the sealing, because he wasn't the one, if we're thinking from Kevin's brain, he wasn't the one who broke his covenants. Ruby broke the covenants, technically, in my opinion, by doing what she did to the children.
Hot Ham Radio, is Kevin still practicing? You could surmise that based on his employment status at BYU, you have to be in good standing with the church to be employed by, not necessarily in good standing with BYU, but you have to be living in harmony with the teachings of the church to be employed at BYU.
And then
you have to have a temple recommend when you work at BYU, or if you are not a member, then you have to live up to those standards.
Correct.
Sorry.
So, and then the interesting thing I put in here with meeting with members about marriage and divorce, as a therapist who works in Utah, there are some bishops who take a very hands-off approach to couples who are struggling, because a lot of times what happens is, and I've experienced this firsthand in my field, a lot of times a Mormon couple that's struggling will go to their bishop and tell their bishop they're struggling, and then their bishop, if they're financially, if the couple is financially struggling, they will offer to pay for the therapy for them to go. So they can either do that and they can find a therapist and they'll pay for it, or they more often than not recommend LDS Family Services, which was the directory that Jodi was on and why Jodi was recommended as often as she was. And so a lot of times bishops take a hands-off approach and just hand them to the therapist and say, I'm not a counselor. This is way above my head. Like, I counsel you on spiritual matters, but you need to sort things out with a therapist. And in my mind, that's the ideal way, because they're not trained to deal with marital issues. They're not.
No.
And especially, even if they were, it's not appropriate, because that can develop a dual relationship between a patron and then somebody who's counseling you on your marriage, in my opinion. There are pastors who counsel on marriages, and that's their prerogative, but it's not mine. So, but there are also bishops who will just counsel their own opinion based on what the couple is going through. And obviously you're going to get mixed reviews on how that works. But it says that church leaders should not counsel a person on whom to marry, nor should they counsel a person whether or not to divorce his or her spouse. So we're taking zero accountability. Let them make their own choices. You're not the one that says yay or nay. While divorce is an appropriate option in some situations, such decisions must remain with the individual. So this is full acknowledgement that divorce is appropriate in some situations, according to the handbook. And then following the guidance of the Spirit, the church leaders often meet with couples and individuals who are separating or getting a divorce. Leaders can also help a couple strengthen their marriage. They can teach them about the strength and healing that comes from keeping the covenants that they've made, basically teach them not to get divorced. And then a member who is separated from his or her spouse or is going through a divorce should not date until the divorce is final. This is the only thing in there in the handbook that I found around dating and divorce, is that you shouldn't be dating until your divorce is finalized. So if Kevin wants to truly live the Mormon way, he's going to need to get married again, frankly. If he wants to truly live up to the Mormon standard, he needs to get married so he can get into the celestial kingdom. So
let me just note this. Last time we were talking about this, Kevin was on the schedule for winter semester at BYU. I that may have changed, so I might be wrong on that one.
We haven't looked in a while.
I haven't looked at that, so if you guys are saying that he might not be on, I might be wrong. So just so everybody knows.
Here's the other sketchy thing that I don't like about bishops sending, like paying for therapy. While I love it sometimes, generally a release of information has been signed. And if you're not aware of what a release of information is, you could be giving your therapist to give more information to your bishop than you would be willing if you did not look over that release of information. Because I need a release to collect payment. Because if I don't, then I'm confirming that these people are my clients, which is highly unethical behavior that I would probably be disciplined by the board for, because I'm confirming somebody is my client to a person and they haven't given me permission to. But if you sign a release of information that's more thorough than that, you're giving your therapist potential permission to share more information than you might be willing with your bishop. And that's why Jodi was punished originally, because she shared information that was private about her client with the client's bishop, which is unethical. And so you just have to be careful when you're doing that if you're signing something like that, it's just for financial. It's not for any information about treatment. Because if treatment is on there, then we've got grounds to talk about a lot of things related to what's happening in counseling. And that could include, like, are they still wanting to stay in the church? And information that they shouldn't be privy to if you don't want them to.
Bonnie with the super chat, she asked, if a woman marries another man and has children with him, but is still sealed to her ex, and her children with the new spouse are sealed to her, are her children with the new spouse sealed to her ex? No, they're not. That would be a specific situation. And a lot of times they're only sealed, or no, they can't even only be sealed to the one parent, because the parents have to be sealed in order for them to be sealed to one of those parents.
Correct.
So it would probably be a situation where they would encourage the one spouse to get the sealing canceled, and then the kids can choose. I don't know. That's a really they don't even outline that one. So I'm sure that's on a case-by-case basis on whatever the Spirit directs.
Yep.
But no, the kids that she has with her new husband are not sealed to anybody.
Nope. Because
they're not born under the covenant, and they can't be sealed to just her. They have to be sealed to both parents. Because Jordan, her mother was endowed, but never sealed to her father. So Jordan was never sealed to her mother.
Because I can't just be sealed to one person.
Yep,
My
you can't
mom
be
would
sealed
need to be
to just
married to
one.
somebody.
Yeah. That's a thing of the past. That was a ruse that Justice Smith used to marry people's teenage children and their mothers.
Indeed.
So, yeah. Anyway.
All right. Next.
Did we get everything on this slide? Sorry, we're
Yes,
kind of
we did.
going all over the place. So I took it down.
And I
Also,
think
thanks to
that's-
the super chat. Who was the other super chat? Victoria, thanks for all the info.
Thank you, Victoria.
Pereira. We appreciate you.
So now we've moved out of the what is divorce and Mormonism and stuff. So if you have further questions about that, drop them in and we'll try to get there, but we'll keep moving along with what's been going on. Holy crap. Hero of Canton gifted 50 memberships.
Can we turn Hero of Canton off on on gifts. It's every stream this
He's
time.
being too generous.
It's every stream this time.
Oh my gosh, all you guys are going to get free content now. We love it. You're going to get a backlog of content.
Go watch Jordan laugh for like 10 minutes straight.
Oh yeah, go watch our
after
unhinged
this.
ad read where I lost my shit and cried and laughed.
Thank you for the gifted, and welcome to all the new people.
Yes. So many of you.
Take the month off. Hero of Canton.
Seriously,
I'm begging you.
Hero Canton, you're so sweet. Okay, so while that's going, let's talk about Utah. Let's talk about Ruby's traffic charge, her traffic violation. So just 5 days before Ruby was arrested for the child abuse, she was pulled over for speeding. So she was going 50 and a 35, and she was pulled over in Ivins. She was not far from where Jodi lives. And so she went to court on September 18th, and the speeding case, all of it was dismissed. She entered a not guilty plea, and then the city of Ivins asked the judge to dismiss the speeding charge, given the nature of the charges that she's currently facing in district court, to which her attorney obviously is going to agree. And then they dropped the speeding infraction. And so the city asked them to drop the charge because of the other charges that she was facing.
The more pertinent,
the more intense ones. And so she wasn't charged with anything for the speeding violation. And so there's that. But I threw in an ironic thing in here because I thought it was funny. Go to the next slide.
Also, 50 and a 35 is crazy, dude. Getting caught for 50 and a 35 in Utah is crazier.
So this reminded me of this video, and I saw somebody else bring it up in the subreddit too with Julie. So I timestamped it so it'll pull it right up. But she gets pulled over, and then this is Ruby's comment.
Also, Ruby, girl, what is going on with the lashes?
She needs a fill, bro.
Sheesh.
Explore nature's
Oh
mystery.
shit, we got
Living
hit with
planets,
the ads.
creatures that change color, plants
I
and
don't
animals that give off.
care. Okay.
We're all suffering together, everybody.
Well, he was kind, but not that kind. What's not kind about holding you accountable for your speech?
Where did you find
was
this?
like-
Did somebody post that in the
Somebody
subreddit?
posted it in the subreddit, and I was like, I swear I've seen a video where she's like giving somebody shit for speeding, and then I saw that, and I was
That
like,
was
oh, that's totally it.
funny.
So there you go. I thought that was very ironic. Hopefully you guys heard that. We didn't have a long video to check sound
Let me make sure.
before we move to the next one.
Okay, it looks like people heard it.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, that is a healthy dose of irony.
Julie does kind of look like Jamie Lynn Spears. I agree.
That's kind of a curse in today's day and age.
Yeah, it is. It's not a compliment. Okay. And then interestingly enough, this came up on my radar since you guys know how I feel about life coaching in Utah. A passenger's case leads Utah lawmaker to argue for better overseeing of life coaches. So this came from KUTV. The child abuse case against Ruby and Jodi has one lawmaker to believe that the state needs to do a better job overseeing life coaches across Utah.
What?
You don't say. And this is the reason I included it. He said Franke's own husband asked him to increase restrictions on these coaches, claiming the relationship advice she got from her business partner led to the collapse of their family. According to Senator David Hinkins, Ruby Franke's estranged husband Kevin asked him to look into the qualifications one has to pass to become a life coach. As it turns out, there are no qualifications, and Hinkins has said bad advice from unqualified life coaches has been ruining families for a long time.
Do you know him, Hinkins?
I don't. I know he's a Republican.
We only know the fucking bad ones. So.
I only, the ones that I've had bad experiences with. But I am not totally against this. I would need to see the bill. The bill is still in its infancy. The legislative session starts next month, I believe. It'll be the first time. Well, it'll be the first time since COVID, I guess. It's been a minute. So when I was a teacher, I was in the union, so I used to go to the Capitol every year as part of the teachers union to lobby for some education bills. And if I was still living in Utah, I would absolutely go lobby for this, depending on what's in the bill. So it's still in its infancy right now. I think it will be proposed during session, especially with the attention that it's getting. We'll go to the next slide. So this is Senator David Hinkins. And then officials with the Utah Division of Professional Licensing, or DOPL, declined to do an on-camera interview for now, opting to wait until the bill is drafted before commenting on it. However, they sent a text which reads in part, life coaches are not required to be licensed in Utah, therefore there are no standards for the industry. There are a few national life coach consortiums that have some standards, but none that are enforceable in Utah yet. We do see some complaints that are against life coaches who are former licensed behavioral health practitioners who lost a license and are now practicing as life coaches, but are providing the same services as when they were licensed, which is illegal.
Which is exactly
what Jodi was doing.
What Jodi did. She had her practice. She got a slap in the wrist from DOPL, and then she rebranded as life coaching. Verbatim what happened.
Hinkins said that the bill is still in its infancy and that he plans on working with DOPL while drafting it. He doesn't want the bill to be so strict that it prevents people from giving their family members advice when they're asked to give it, which I thought was just so funny because that's such a Republican thing to say.
Right? It's a slippery slope from, oh, you can't be doing life coaching because you couldn't make it as a licensed therapist. So
to giving your nephew
now
advice.
They're gonna be hauling us away for telling our fucking nephews to wrap their tool when they're getting frisky with a girl.
Like, oh my God, guys,
come on.
Get real. These are the legislators that we work with in Utah. But I'm not against this. I don't see what... I'm very interested to see the direction that this could take because there is no regulating body. Like if you think about like what I do and the other counseling professions, we're all regulated by a national regulating body. Like because I'm a social worker, like I'm regulated by the National Association of Social Workers, and then DOPL, the professional licensing division, enforces basically the NASW. And then if there's anything unique to Utah, which is generally pretty much the same state boundaries and, you know, keeping ethical whatnot, but it's the same with like LMHCs, the same thing with LPCs. Like we all have our own regulating body. And so the point that I think the DOPL is trying to make is there is nothing like that really for life coaches, except for some life coaching agencies have like a code of conduct.
Yeah.
But it's not enforceable unless DOPL picks that up and decides to enforce it. But anybody can say that they're a life coach. Yeah. So I don't know truly how they're going to regulate this.
Like, I completely understand that there are respectable life coaches out there. You know, I don't doubt it. But it's shit like this that kind of, I mean, when people don't take it seriously, this is the profession that you picked and there's no regulation and things around it. You kind of set yourself up to be not taken seriously.
Yeah.
Especially when you have people like Jodi doing this where she didn't want to abide by the code of ethics. So she said, fuck that, I'm going to do something else, but really I'm just going to do the same thing.
100%. So it'll be interesting to see where that goes. Lots of people are like, this sounds like a PR move for Kevin, and he's trying to make himself look good so he can get custody back of the kids. Like, this thing right here, like, his support of the bill and shit, like, in my mind, does not make a difference in the custody case. I don't think they give a single shit about this, if you want my honest opinion. They care about his parenting abilities, not whether or not he supports a bill that's upcoming in the legislature.
That doesn't matter.
Yeah. So
it's a little late for advocacy.
Yeah.
This guy kind of reminds me of Steve Wozniak. You know Steve Wozniak,
yeah,
right?
I can see that.
Shout out to the Woz. Anyway.
And then probably the biggest news that was around for a hot minute, which was Ruby Franke's husband tried to have daughter arrested on burglary charge after police searched the home.
This was so goofy, dude.
This was so dumb. So dumb. So what?
Did you include the police audio?
I did, but I didn't go through it to see if I just pulled up a TikTok.
Okay, that's fine.
But it might be.
I just like to hear Kevin because it was so funny.
It was so funny. Documents show DCFS caseworker returned to Franke's Springville home the day after Ruby and Jodi were arrested in order to get necessary belongings for the two Franke children taken into state custody in southern Utah. Items included clothing and personal belongings. Like, from a DCFS perspective, this is not abnormal.
Yeah.
The caseworker has asked, this is what was interesting to me. The caseworker had asked police to come along in order to keep the peace as they believed Kevin Franke may have been home and that he may not be cooperative.
Uh-oh.
Now, remember, prior to this, Ruby and Kevin had a history of DCFS calls. Some of them warranted, maybe some of them not. But there was something that triggered these DCFS workers to believe that Kevin and Franke wouldn't be cooperative. Because DCFS workers go to people's houses without police all the time. All the time. To have police come with you is very much for a particular reason. So their interactions with them clearly in the past have not been positive.
This is also why we're like, don't really believe that they're besties.
Indeed.
Anyway.
So when officers arrived at the Springville home, they found the caseworker, Franke's eldest daughter, Shari, and other family members had already entered the home. Because remember, they banged the door in. Like, I couldn't find a picture of it, but they used the big, like, baton thing, which smashed the door.
The battering ram.
Yeah, that thing. I knew it was started with a B. But it busted, like, the whole center of the door. So it didn't do the whole thing, but all you'd have to do was reach around and open it, or if it was unlocked, you could just open the door. So anybody could have been getting in there, and he claimed that apparently that's what was happening, was that people, even who weren't immediate family, had been, like, rifling around in the house. Which I don't know if I believe or not. But officers told the group that they were only there to keep the peace and were not going to get involved in property disputes. Officers also repeatedly told them to only take what they needed and leave behind anything that did not belong to them. So their involvement is pretty minimal at that point, right? Like, they don't even want to be there. So a few days later, Kevin and Franke calls Springville Police Department reporting a burglary at the home. Kevin said the door had been kicked in and damaged, which was done by the police for the warrant that was served for his children.
Bro was there within like a couple hours of that happening, so I don't know.
And several electronics, including electronic journals, were missing. He reportedly told police he believed Shari was to blame.
Can you imagine the cope going through his head, thinking that Shari, I don't doubt she's strong, but kicking in a door? A front door, an exterior door, by the way. Also, look at it's right in here. Bless her heart, but I couldn't kick that door in.
No, it's a massive door. That's why I included it. The door is huge.
It's huge. Anyway.
So I explained to Kevin, this is the police officer, I explained to Kevin that the door was breached when Springville Police Department served a warrant on the home earlier that week looking for juveniles. I also explained to him that we conducted a keep the peace call with Shari at the home because she needed to retrieve essential items for the children. Because remember, the children, the two younger girls, were found to be at Pam's house, and the police went to Pam's house to get them because that's where they figured out the kids were. And then the police gave the option of the two younger children to either go into state custody or go with Shari, and the two younger kids reportedly went with Shari. So it would make sense that Shari would then need to go to the house to get their shit. Like, how hard is this to understand, Kevin?
A burglary, I guarantee that address is still listed on Shari's ID. She's only going to school like less than 20 miles away.
Seriously.
There's no way that she has changed her address. She legally is a resident there.
Not to mention, she's probably been there more often than Kevin has.
Yeah.
So, hello.
Yep.
So Kevin, who reportedly admitted to not having been in the home for over a year, said Shari was not allowed to go in the house. I wouldn't be surprised if that was a Ruby rule also.
Yeah.
Police reached out to Shari, who confirmed she took the electronics, but was happy to return them upon request, which I just love that. Police said Shari didn't have any intent to deprive Kevin of the items, so they wouldn't be pressing charges against Shari. After the call, Shari reportedly gave police 3 tablets, 3 cell phones, 3 cameras, a stack of written journals, and 3 passports, all of which were returned to Kevin without incident. Police reported explaining to Kevin that criminal charges would not be filed in the case and that it would be considered a civil issue. And he was butthurt about that and said he would talk to his lawyer about it.
But now they're besties, so.
But now they're besties, right? So everything's okay. So this is the video, but it's from a news channel. So we have to be careful because I didn't watch it.
I don't want to. Yeah, it's from KUTV 2.
If you blow it up, we can probably just do the part where he's talking.
Oh yeah, you can see the
subtitles.
Captions.
I don't know why this pulled from H3 sub, but it did.
It's because that's where you're going, you know? Let's see, can I zoom in a little bit? give it a little nope. I guess that's as good as we're getting it.
So you can see those baskets have a lot of shit in them.
Yep, laptop and stuff of that nature. It's all there. Yes.
Is it all there?
Is it all there? Yes. Explain to me why, again, this was not robbery.
This is Kevin asking.
First off, Kevin, there's a difference between robbery and burglary. It would be a burglary. Because it's a civil issue, says the
You guys are
officer.
family. She's been in the house before.
She's a resident
This
at the
is
house.
your daughter.
You haven't been in the house in a year. Do they need any other?
She had interest in the items. She didn't take them with the intention to deprive you of them.
Theft. That's theft code. We have to prove intent to deprive you of the items. And that wasn't her intent in having them. So the detective sergeant said that we're not going to press charges, going to charge her for anything. Sorry. It's small. I'm trying to read it for you guys.
Okay, I'll have to do some more research on that, is what Kevin says.
Yeah. This does not convey the tone of how dejected he was upon hearing that.
No.
He seemed so disappointed that he couldn't press charges against his daughter.
You're welcome to do that.
Yeah. If you want to follow up with our detective, you can do so.
Okay.
Yeah. So
he was very dejected in this, just kind of shell of a human being vibes, which can you really blame him? I mean, his whole life was turned upside down in 24 hours.
I mean, he is a victim of his wife, but he is also
a loser.
Probably not doing the best stuff, given the evidence that's on his YouTube channel, his former YouTube channel. All right.
So then, about Jodi and about Ruby. So I went through and looked at everything. There was the one hearing that we were part of that was a complete disaster because everybody was like making weird noises and shouting obscenities and like in the hearing. And so that was a whole disaster. And then the court issued a thing that said nobody behaves like that again or they're going to get in trouble. And then there was some back and forth on court dates. And then ultimately the big kind of, not really a bombshell, but the reason that everything's kind of stopped right now is this memo came out, and this is from Lamar J. Windward, which is Ruby's attorney, requesting that the hearing set on September 18th, which was the last official date, be continued to a date after October 5th, 2023, as all parties have stipulated to the continuance via phone conversation on September 17th. An additional time is needed to review the copious amount of discovery. He could have just said the discovery.
Yeah.
But the copious amount, remember they took a lot of things from Jodi. Like they took a bunch of phones from Jodi. They took a bunch of computers from Jodi. So both attorneys and the prosecution are obviously going to need to sort time to go through everything before any other decisions are made. So I pulled up the Utah court calendar, which is where they keep track of everything. And as of December 1st, there have not been any hearings scheduled for Jodi or Ruby, which tells me that they are still going through discovery.
Yeah.
Which is crazy because that means this is going to be thorough. This is going to be, I mean, they're going to be deciding, lots of, lawyers are out there speculating that best case scenario for Ruby and for Jodi is a plea deal. And so there's going to be lots of effort put in, especially by Jodi's lawyer, since he's such a powerhouse, to try to get the best case scenario out of this situation. And so I don't really blame them for taking a longer amount of time. So as of this point, we do not have any updates on when they're going to be in court again. And both of them have still been denied bail. And so neither of them can get out. So both of them are still out of jail until or still in jail until this gets sorted out. And then on October 10th, which I was happy to hear of this, a Utah judge issued an order to seal all records in Ruby Franke child welfare case. Now, this came after a reporter from the Daily Mail snuck into one of the child custody hearings and leaked a lot of that information that came out in the first hearing. And so after that, the judge promptly decided that they were going to seal everything. So all hearings and all documents. And then the document stated that any family members permitted to attend hearings were strictly prohibited from posting on social media or sharing any information with any media news outlet, individual, or organization not affiliated with the case. And then all future hearings in this case are closed to the public and media. So even the family that are allowed to attend are not allowed to speak about it to anyone. And I imagine the judge was not fooling around with consequences on this, I'm sure, for the people that are involved in this case. And so that was on October 10th. And then if you go to the next slide, which I completely agree with this decision.
Yeah, absolutely. This is what it means to protect children. Because those kinds of things are not helpful.
And then on October 16th, let me say this. The sisters have spoken out multiple times. Okay. We've got,
Sorry, I was trying to.
We've got, all the sisters who vlog. They've all made at least one video discussing the situation with their different takes and opinions and things on it. I don't like any of the sisters. This whole situation that we've created with this trial and everything has made everybody go soft on the sisters, and I'm tired of it. Because we can feel bad for the fact that Ruby is absolutely horrible and has disrupted their family dynamics, while also still holding them accountable for the fact that every single one of them still exploits their children. Are they abusing their kids like Ruby is? No, I certainly hope not, but they're still exploiting their kids. So I don't give them a free pass just because they're having a hard time. Like, I'm sorry, that's not how this works.
Are we going to go soft on them? No. Are we going to make up weird incestuous rumors about them, about how they're like swinging between siblings and shit like that? No. Also not, which is something that people have done. Anyway. Do you want to...
Wait, your dad just said that he's on the last 3 chapters of Fourth Wing.
What the fuck? Okay.
Wait.
My former bishop father is reading Fourth Wing. At our suggestion. He
powered through that.
He powered through. Holy shit. Anyway,
okay, so anyway, this was the only reason that I'm including this is because this is Jared. And he posted this the day before the custody hearing, the first one that was sealed, which is why I included this. And he's the only dude who's spoken out. The rest of them have all been the wives, and the wives are generally the face. Yeah. I mean, Jared's more involved, but I included that for this reason, so you can watch Jared's thoughts.
For those who are uninitiated, Jerry is married to Ellie, who is Ruby's sister.
Correct.
Jared Meekum. Also, MCS Maria 28. I feel sorry for the paralegal who has to go through all that evidence.
Yeah, no kidding.
I would imagine that there's a lot of unedited footage and things that could probably be used as evidence. So, anyway, let's listen to this real quick. Why can't I hear it? Can you guys hear it?
We might not have audio.
Hold on.
I don't think they can hear it either. Did not come with audio.
What is going on? They could hear it earlier. That was weird. There should be audio. Let me try refreshing.
Tinker Bell 1980 gifted 5 memberships. Thank you.
Let me try. That's weird. Did we hear the YouTube clip earlier? Hold on.
Maybe we didn't.
Maybe we didn't. Seemed like people heard the YouTube clip earlier. Oh yeah, I'm not getting anything over there.
It wasn't that important.
Okay, it's not that important?
It's not. It's just him talking about, they're trying to focus on their stuff and it's sad and blah, 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 blah. So I only included it because it came out the day before the child custody hearing. So go to the next one.
Okay. Maybe it was the clip was all messed up or something.
It could be. And then this also was posted by Shari on October 16th, which is the day before the sealed custody hearing. And she said, there's literally not even words to describe how upside down my life has become. I've cried, had an infinite number of panic attacks, had way too much ice cream, and yet life goes on. Therapy has literally saved me, which I was so happy to hear. But God has too. My life is somehow becoming more beautiful and fulfilling despite all the terrible things going on. I've tried to live my life to the fullest in the last few weeks, even though all I want to do is hide away in my apartment. I do have my days. Tomorrow is another big court day, and I'd appreciate your prayers and thoughts for my family and myself. Words can't express the gratitude I feel for you, and I feel for your love. So there was the first photo she posted, which is the one covered on the bottom, and then the second photo that she posted in front of the temple with her bag of endowment clothing.
The Bountiful Temple, right? Oh,
I
no.
thought that looks like
No,
Bountiful,
it's,
but I don't think it is.
It's the one that's in Pleasant Grove, Timpanogos. Mount Timpanogos Temple. It's the same design. I forgot.
Wholehearted 1991. Welcome to the Terrestrial Kingdom. And then October 17th rolls around, which is when Kevin, Shari, and Chad attended all together. That is all of them walking into the hearing. The white-haired gentleman is Randy Kester, his lawyer, and then the other guy in the suit that's not Kevin, I assume, is somebody else on his team. And then for this hearing, because this was concerning custody of the children, Ruby was transported from Purgatory in St. George to the Utah County Jail so that she could attend the hearing in person.
She got separated from her bestie.
Indeed. And then we've got Chad. This created quite a stir because he hasn't been on social media. Because if you recall, he told Ruby that he wasn't ever going to be on social media, or Ruby said he wasn't ever going to be anymore. And then on September 25th, he creates his Instagram, and I think the caption was like, yeah, guys, it's me. And people were skeptical on whether or not it's his actual Instagram, which rightfully so. And then I included October 20th, he posted that photo. I included that photo because for like watching the 8 passengers kids just transform over time, like this picture for me was just very much like, wow, Chad is an adult. Like he is young, but he's an adult, which is kind of crazy given everything that we've seen so far. Keely Douglas, welcome to the Terrestrial
Dude looks
Kingdom.
like his name is Chad. I think he's got... Does he have Alpha?
I included it.
Oh, okay.
I included it.
Here,
Next slide.
We'll go next slide.
You can see what he has in his bio.
Yeah. This...
Alpha male as his
concerning.
pronouns. But here's what I want to say, you guys. He's on a journey, okay? We love accountability, but he's on a journey, and he was raised by Ruby and Kevin. So I can't imagine there's a lot of constructive conversations on, like, toxic masculinity and empathy, maybe. I don't know. And remember, Ruby hates the gays. So it's not really surprising to me that he would take this position. I'm not justifying it because he is an adult and he does get to form his own opinions. But you have to remember, you know, the amount of severe indoctrination that he's gotten from Ruby, especially. So if he wants to unlearn those things, he can. But that's going to be a process, and he might not be in a place where he feels like he needs to. And if he chooses to live his life that way, then he and I will have beef. But for now, I'm going to give him some grace. For now.
Yeah.
This
person is a little sus.
So
I hope that 95. I hope that 95 is not a birth year, because you're 28 years old. This boy he's still very young man.
I included these because
Stop it.
This is gross. Okay?
That's gross.
There's people that are commenting, and I didn't blur out the names because this is public. You can find this on Instagram. People are commenting and saying, oh my God, Chad, you're so hot. I'm in love with you. Like, blah, blah, blah. And he's responding to them. Okay. So he's kind of encouraging it. And then one of the comments that I thought was interesting was people verifying whether this was him. If this is Chad, what food did we eat at Anasazi? And he wrote rice, lentils, powdered milk, powdered butter, dried apricots, powdered cheese, noodles, flour, and most importantly, the tang. And then she said, one more question. I'm sorry, I just have to make sure. What type of water bottle did they give us? And where were you when you first joined, if you remember, and don't mind me answering. It was a Life straw so we could drink out of cow tanks.
Life straw. Dude, they used to sell those at distribution warehouse. You could buy a Life straw from the Mormon church.
Horrifying. I mean, let's just talk about like that experience on its own. Like, I've heard of people who I've seen, like teenagers and stuff, post like positive experiences at that camp, but I have seen plenty of people who have experienced horrible things at that camp. And I am not, as a mental health professional, in my professional opinion, those camps tend to be sketchy more often than not and tend to be abusive more often than not. And that's my opinion. And I mean, think about all the ones that we see where they end up shutting down because somebody dies and it's a kid, you know, things like that. And so just thinking about his life experience and the things that he's had to endure so far, like, it's one thing to endure Ruby, but she also sent him to a wilderness camp. And that's extremely traumatic.
Yeah. But I can totally understand. A lot of people use, for whatever reason, you know, obviously some people crave some sort of interaction, so they take to the internet and they pretend to be people that they are not, especially when there's a lot of things going on with those people. So I can understand that somebody is trying to verify, especially if it was somebody who went through the same traumatic experiences.
Exactly. Yeah. Okay. Next slide. And then he also posted this, which I thought was interesting. This was posted October 1st. I've blurred out his younger siblings. Shari isn't blurred out, obviously. Found this photo recently. Most of us are probably a couple inches taller except me. I love everyone so much in this photo. Spending time with them, it gets me excited to raise my own children. Each one of these people have taught me how to be a loving brother and future father. Chad is very much Mormon, as far as I can pick up on. The next slide also points to that. He follows Shari, the aunts, and then the 12 apostles of the Mormon Church, the prophet. And then he recently posted this. Someone made a Hinge account under his name. It's not me. I don't have that app, so don't give that rando any of your information. So this is why it would just suck to be in his position for like 30,000 different reasons. But now you have people impersonating you on the internet, pretending to be you on a dating app. This is exactly
why we're like, this is awful what people do, family vlogging and putting their kids' lives on the internet, because then if something terrible happens, like in the case of 8 passengers, as we're seeing, things are just off the rails for the kids, and there's like no stability for the foreseeable future.
Yeah.
So
next slide. So I wasn't going to include this, but this was family, and I made McKay watch it because I was confused by it. So this was yesterday. Bonnie posts this weird cryptic thing on her Instagram, and then Shari posts something similar. And so to me, this is alluding that maybe something's going to come out or something's happening, but this is just like bizarre. I'm interested in you guys' thoughts on it.
Well, the sound was working that time, so it must have been the link. Also, I need to go to the link because I have no volume control in the embedded video, and it was really loud.
Stress comes
Here we go.
From the situation with my sister and her family, and I think the real stress,
the audio is very off, so it's not
and
like the
kind of like anxiety comes from when I learn something, I process it, and then a little while later the media finds out about it and then comes after me. So that's a cycle that I'm just preparing myself for. When Joel and I were building the house and we were almost done, I booked us a cruise, and I was going to give it to him as like a thank you, congratulations on, getting the house done. And when I told him about it, we both were like, okay, well, let's just cancel that, because there's just no way. There's no way to escape.
Interesting.
So to me, this is giving like,
oh, there's another shoe that's about to drop.
Yeah,
y'all.
like there's
ready.
something, and she's trying to not necessarily get ahead of it, but has an awareness that maybe something is going to come. And then if you go to the next slide, Shari posted just a few hours after Bonnie. She posted, taking a mental health day and week. So much goes on that is unseen by everybody. School is hard. Life is hard. Just remember, it's okay to be sad one day and feel strong the next. I try to find the positive in everything, and when I stop to look at the realistic negative, it can be overwhelming. 1 week until the end of the semester, I can make it. Which props to her to not taking the semester off, because Jesus Christ, I would have taken the semester off.
I would have dropped everything.
But she powered through, which good for her.
Shout out.
But so weird. Like, they're both acknowledging there's something weird, and people are speculating, like, since Bonnie has major beef with Kevin, because she said it in her videos, is it because, like, Shari and Kevin spent time with, or Shari and Chad spent Thanksgiving with Kevin, and so now she's got beef with Bonnie? If Bonnie truly feels that way, I feel like that's super shallow and annoying, and I tend to want to give her the benefit of the doubt, and Shari's trying to figure out what her relationship with her parents is going to look like, and she doesn't need anybody else's opinion on that, let alone Ruby's family. That's my opinion. So maybe she's bitter about that. Maybe she doesn't care. Maybe she wants Shari to do what's best for her. That's what I hope she wants. And maybe it's entirely unrelated and there's another story or something that's going to drop and we just don't know what it is yet. But that is the gist up to this point. That is everything that has happened other than the body cam footage of the police going to Pam's house, which I didn't have time to include, but we didn't learn much else other than that is where they were, and Pam was very bitchy and annoying. So that is everything up to this point.
Not a lot that, I mean, all of this stuff was pretty spaced out, so like doing regular updates would kind of be kind of overkill. That's why we wanted to wait until there was stuff to talk about and then
go.
Do it. So, guessing BYU has no sympathy for her. Some colleges would cut her a break. Yeah,
I would hope her professors would understand, but you really never know.
Let's see some humanity here. I'm sure there's not a person there who's not aware of the situation.
Yeah, exactly.
Despite, I understand that not every person on the faculty at the university is aware of each other's existence, but with shit like that going down, it would be really strange for them not to know what's going on.
Yeah.
I thought you meant Bonnie from Five Nights at Freddy's.
No. Thank you for your compliment on my hair. It is in the most sloppiest bun, and it is somehow looking like I did this intentionally, but it is not.
Are you saying your bun is sloppy toppy?
It's a messy mom bun.
Okay?
I have to
go there so we can have some. We need some sanity back on this channel every now and then. Jesus.
So that's all we have for now. I assume more information will come out. If this goes to trial, it'll be a whole thing. So, and obviously we're not going to probably hear anything about what's going on with the kids, as it should be. I just hope they're in good hands with supportive people and in therapy, hopefully, so they can start healing from everything that Ruby and Jodi have done.
Well, we know that Shari definitely is.
Yeah.
She's spoken on it.
Which is great.
I doubt she's fucking stopped doing that.
I am glad she's still doing that.
Recent events.
Yeah. So.
Pam! Mom Bun was my drag queen name in high school.
That's amazing. That's amazing. So if there's other massive major updates, we'll get on with something else. We filmed the first video when they got arrested at midnight because we wanted to make sure that you guys had it the next day. There hasn't really been anything that groundbreaking other than the divorce, and there's still a lot of information that we don't know about that. So we'll keep you updated. If it's just small things, we'll probably do this again where we'll just kind of let things build and then cover. If this is...
I can't imagine anything too groundbreaking until they finally go to trial.
And maybe when they get... Not even that. I think next step is whether or not they're going to be denied bail. Because I don't think the two of them are going to be denied bail for much longer. I really don't. I don't think that they could make the argument that they're a danger to the community as long as they're not around children.
Yeah. Well, and if the divorce is finalized before that, I don't... Ruby or Jodi might be able to post, but I don't think Ruby could.
Probably not. She's going to have half her assets taken away.
Yep. So, anyway, Rochelle, welcome to the Celestial Kingdom.
Thank you all for joining us tonight. Remember, we have book club going on. If you want to join our book club, it just started a few days ago, so you're not too far behind.
Don't let Jordan bully you into going fast. This is supposed to be laid back at your own tempo.
It is.
And Jordan, ever since Friday, has been, when are you going to start the book? When are you going to start the book? When are you going to start the book? And I was like, I thought it was on my own time. Jeez.
Yes. So it is at your own pace.
Jordan is the book bully.
I am not a book bully.
You are a book bully.
I just want you to be able to participate.
I'm surprised
in
you haven't
discussions.
been like harassing my dad.
No, because I don't want to ruin it. But now he's going to start Iron Flame, so it's fine. So the book club is on the Fable app, which you can download in the App Store. And then our book club is called A Court of Apostates. So like A Court of Thorns and Roses, except a court and then of apostates. There is a link in our Instagram bio. So if you pull up Instagram, click on our bio, you'll see a link to our Fable book club. And then if you search it, you'll see.
Oh, here, hold on. Let me show y'all. Somebody was like, "Oh, it's an app. Sorry, I won't be able to participate, but just so we are all on the same page, let me show you. You can go to fable.co, right? There's a little magnifying glass right here. Beep. And you can go A Court of Apostates. Can't miss it. Look at that beautiful woman. MILF. Some would even say, especially me. And then you can, you have to join the app. Okay. Never mind. Sorry, guys.
You got so
I was
close.
like, what the hell?
So you've got...
Download the app to join.
Unfortunately, you have to download the app, but
Sorry.
It's super easy. There's chapter chats, so nobody gets spoiled anything. No requirements or pace. Like, you come and go as you please. We've had a lot of discussion. I'm almost halfway. I'm pacing myself because I will just sit and read the whole thing.
She will. She read all of... Iron Flame was such a gruelingly long book, and Jordan sat there and read it all the way through. Indeed.
So that is that. If you would like to join, become a member. You can get access to exclusive content. I'm going to do a book review here soon with all my books for the end of the year once we get to the end, because I'm almost to my 50 books goal.
50 books.
I think 50 books in 6 months is pretty good. Pretty proud of myself for
pretty
that.
great. That's pretty crazy.
Grandma shaking Fortnite. Someone
Yeah.
said it in the chat.
Oh, don't even get me started.
McKay sings it
that
all
night.
the time. Thank you, Sam, for
Grandma's shaking Fortnite.
permanently searing that into my brain.
Last night we let the Rizzler talk.
Go join that. Become a member. And we've got fun stuff coming up this month. We'll see you Sunday for sure. And then we'll be back next Tuesday.
Yeah. Keep an eye out. We'll post in the community tab when we can announce the Friday night updates.
And on Instagram, so go follow us. Jordan and McKay on Instagram.
Check it out. We've got all this stuff down in the description. An announcement as well. For those of you who have been asking about the P.O. Box, I have the P.O. Box application. I paid for it. I just need to go and get the key. I did it on Saturday, so I haven't had time. I didn't have time yesterday because it was a fucking awful day. So I probably go tomorrow and grab the key, and then I will update all of our here and henceforth all of our stuff, so that if you would like to send us stuff like people have been asking, you can send it to the P.O. Box.
So we're working on it.
Working on it. We appreciate you. I appreciate you for annoying me with it all the time, because I suck at...
And we're almost there.
Getting it done.
So do that. We'll have a new book in January if you want to join the book club. Become a member for exclusive content. We've got new streams potentially coming up once we get things organized. We'll have an announcement on that soon. And go follow us on Instagram. If you're in Utah and need a therapist, reach out to me. I still have openings. I think that's it.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my gosh. Have a good rest of your week, y'all.
We love y'all.
We love you.
Grid bless and grid night.